And now it's time for Windy City Sports Talk. And your host, Ryan Young.
Hello, Chicago! Welcome to this live Tuesday, December the 13th edition of Windy City Sports Talk. I am Ryan Young. For the next half hour, we're going to recap and preview everything going on in the world of Chicago sports. You want to follow me on Twitter, it's at ringside_rep. There was no Chicago sports on the docket last night. They were off. Both teams are on the docket tonight. We'll preview that in just a little bit. But of course, I'm trying to think of some other news that really took place. Of course, we talked about it yesterday. Jeff Fisher got fired as the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams. A lot of people wondering who's going to take over that job. Is there a possibility? And because it seems like every coaching vacancy that's out there, it's always rumored Jim Harbaugh coming back. Of course, he's like the main guy from college that you talk about. Oh, he's going to jump right in and get back into the NFL. Well, of course, he signed with, he's of course with the University of Michigan. And, of course, he was the former head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, and it looks like Chip Kelly, odds are he's going to get fired eventually. So these rumors are going to keep coming until Jim Harbaugh comes back to the NFL. But, of course, he probably wants to win a national championship at Michigan, and he never did. I mean, he was a San Francisco 49ers head coach. He made it to the Super Bowl. It was the Harbaugh Bowl. Both Harbaugh brothers, he lost that one. So he's had his opportunities, but of course, your goal in every championship and every team that you're on or play in or whatever, coach, you want an opportunity to be able to win the big championship, and you feel that's as close as you possibly can get to getting a championship is being in the championship game or the championship series and get and lose. So they had an opportunity for that to happen, and he could not do it. So we'll see if anything comes out of that. But I think obviously the Jeff Fisher firing is kind of the main thing that's come out of the last couple of days. Head coaching wise, of course, you always have Black Monday, which is the last Monday after the regular season. And I mean, if you look at a lot of the head coaches, do you think, is there a possibility John Fox is on the bubble? I don't think so. I mean, a lot of talk about, he's been there 2 years, he hasn't been able to do anything. But really, he's only dealing with the hand he was dealt. He never really was, he's just dealing with the team he has and is stuck with. And I think starting next year is when he's put on the clock, because next year will be his first year without Jay Cutler. He'll be able to kind of start his own team. And I think that's what he needs. He's obviously a very good head coach. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, unable to win one. And obviously the Bears are very far away from winning a championship, but at least if they can get in that right direction. And John Fox is the kind of guy you want as your head coach in a rebuilding process. I thought Adam Gase would have been a great head coach if the Bears would have thought about this rebuild beforehand. But I think the reason they didn't go that way was because I think they still had a shot, thought that going into this season, or maybe even going into last season, Adam Gase was still the offensive coordinator, that this team still had an opportunity to win football games and be a contender and not be as bad and of a crap show as this season has ended up being. So we'll see what happens there, but there's a lot of questions there with the Bears, and of course they're getting ready to definitely try to play spoiler against their biggest rival, the Green Bay Packers, this Sunday at noon, which definitely will be an interesting matchup as always. That one will be at Soldier Field, I believe, or that one is in Green Bay, I'm not sure. Hang on, I got the schedule right here. It is against the Packers, so it's at Soldier. I think this is a game that, we'll obviously get more into it on Friday, but this game obviously has way more importance to the Packers than it does the Bears. The Bears lose, it actually helps them improving their draft picks. Because they're going to probably get top 5. There's a strong possibility they could get probably the 5th pick. And of course, we'll address that as the weeks progress. But I think a very good opportunities for the Bears for that. But again, a nice chance to play spoiler. But we'll see what happens there. Last night, the NFL was back in action. The New England Patriots won again. Again, the New England Patriots doing their job. And Tom Brady, ever since he came back, he has done nothing but play well and sticking it to the man, you could say, and continuing to be that quarterback. Because, of course, suspended the first 4 games of the season for Deflategate. And then he goes through all that, and then he comes back, and I don't know if they've even lost a game. He's been lights out. He has played extremely well, and the Patriots just seem like it's always there. And you always see that, is it going to be the Patriots or the rest of the field to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl? This year it'll be, I believe, February 7th, I want to say, February 1st, something like that, February 7th, something like that, in Houston, Texas. And the safe bet to take to Vegas to bet the house on is usually always the New England Patriots. And they did it again last night against Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, even without Gronkowski, a lot of people thought, okay, maybe their stock goes down a little bit. Maybe this team isn't as lights out as we thought they were. Well, guess what? They're still playing tremendously great football. They're still doing exactly what they need to do to be able to win games, because when you got Belichick and you got Brady together, them two know how to get it done. And that's exactly what they've been able to do. And that's why the New England Patriots, as always, kind of just go storming right through the AFC, and we'll see you in the Super Bowl. So, again, apparently, I hate to bring this up, Deflategate Part 2. And has nothing to, apparently, there was a Deflategate, apparently, I forgot what game it was, but over the weekend that apparently one of the team's balls, it might have been the Steelers game, one of the team's balls were over or deflated. And apparently they didn't want to, I don't know if it was addressed at all, but I think that's an interesting thing, because, okay, they go after Tom Brady, which I think everyone wanted to see, and then all of a sudden it happens to another team, and you decide not to go after them. So I find that a little interesting, and I'm not sure if you'll ever get an opportunity, what's going to happen next, but I still think this is a very, I still think this is a team, or I still think that, I mean, Deflategate is obviously something that can't happen, but I thought they got all these specific measures now for every single game, or were they just talking about the New England Patriots? Because, please, enlighten me, folks. I really don't understand what they're talking about or what they plan on doing. But, I mean, Deflategate, obviously, and you don't want to go through a whole spiel and have to see them do that again. So I'm hoping that nothing else comes out of that. So, yeah, that's really all the news we got there. Of course, yesterday also not really broke, but Kenley Jansen signs back with the Dodgers. A guy that I thought a lot of people thought, and me too, thought he was going to see was possibly going to go to the Miami Marlins. I thought that was the best opportunity in place for him. But he didn't end up going. And he ended up signing back with the team. I think the Dodgers, because they have such a big... Since this Dodger team has such a big payroll, and they can buy anyone. I mean, this is still a very good team. They got to the National League Championship Series last year, lost to the Cubs. This is still a very, very good team. And I think you keep Kenley Jansen there, you're not losing anyone. Probably the one guy that needs to go is Yasiel Puig. So I think maybe with that, that still gives them a very good opportunity to be able to win and to be able to be right back there next year. Now, the Giants, of course, adding Mark Melancon, I think really bolsters the back end of their bullpen, but they really haven't been able to do anything offensively. They still do got Hunter Pence and Buster Posey and Brandon Crawford and Brandon, I can't think of his first name, the first baseman. But they got a very, very good team there. I think it's going to be a very tough team to beat also. So that National League West is going to be tough. So I still think that's a very, very good team, and I think him staying with the Dodgers definitely keeps their chance as well of making another deep run. And again, the Dodgers are that team. I mean, when is the pressure going to start being put on where this team keeps spending a lot of money and nothing comes out of it? They haven't even been able to make it to a World Series. And now that they're this good, now their goal is to try to get past the Cubs. And will they be able to do that? Because now the Cubs are the team to beat in baseball. I mean, they even went into spring training last year and said, embrace the target. And that's exactly what they've been able to do. So, and that's exactly what they've been able to do. That is, and look at what they did. After a year of embracing the target of being a team that is so good, they go out there and win a World Series. And now they're the team now for the whole Major League Baseball to say, you know what? They're doing it. And they did it. And now they're going to try to repeat. Now, you look at what this team that they were able to put out there. And you look at the guys that they got rid of. Dexter Fowler leaves. Aroldis Chapman leaves. But you still obviously got the core of this baseball team. And I think that's what is big for this team. And I think that's going to help this team prevail and hopefully be right back there. I mean, you got to think. with this core, you're at least almost guaranteed a playoff berth every year. Now, you're not looking at a World Series this, obviously, every single year, but guess what? You should be pretty freaking close. I mean, you'd like to see this year at least have an opportunity to defend their World Series. Because you want to be, because I think the Royals are going to be back in. If they decide not to if they decide to not go with the rebuild, I think that team is very good to make another run. And I mean, the Texas Rangers always seem to be there. I mean, it's the Red Sox and the rest of the field in the American League East. So do you finally get to see something that I thought was possibly we were going to see this year, and that was a Cubs-Red Sox World Series? Because I think that'd be great. I think it'd be great to see those two teams, the two classic franchises, go after it for a championship. And obviously the Red Sox in this, since 2004, have won 3 championships. The Cubs have won 1. I think now if you say by the end of this 10 years, can the Cubs, by 2020, can they get a couple titles? I think they're obviously in the running to do it because I think they have their mainstays locked up till 2021. So until then, just keep winning. This will probably be the last year the Cubs have Jake Arrieta, which isn't a bad thing. And I think he's going to be one of the guys that really help and prolong this baseball team this year. Because, of course, I still think the Cubs have done a tremendous job hot stove. Both Chicago teams have done a very good job hitting their points. The White Sox hitting their point on the rebuild. They've done exactly that. They've done a tremendous job. Now you get to the and they're rebuilding, and they've been able to get a lot of nice draft picks. The Cubs needed to work on their bullpen and their 5-man in the rotation. They're able to get Wade Davis, trade Jorge Soler, who really never was there a contribution this past season. And then you're able to get Wade Davis, and then you get Koji Uehara, who helped the Red Sox win a World Series in 2013. So you have a bunch of guys. You have a team that I think is set except for that 5th starter. But a 5th starter is someone you kind of gamble with. He's like your wild card. And I think this year it's going to be, if they don't decide to go after a 5th starter, you got to think it's going to be Mike Montgomery. Of course, he was the guy that got the 3rd out of the World Series. And if you would have asked me who it would have been, probably would have been the last guy on my list to get it. But you know what? He did it. He did a tremendous job out of the bullpen. He did that all playoff long, and he was able to do it again. So we'll see if he'll be able to keep that up as a starter. I don't think the Cubs have even got a chance to see him start. He started once, I believe, with Seattle early in the season, but never really got an opportunity to do that with the Cubs. So I think that's a test. The rotation going to be great. You got Lester. I think it's going to probably be Lester, Hendricks, Arrieta is your rotation. And the Cubs are going to start off in St. Louis and Milwaukee, and then they get to go home and see the Dodgers, which April 10th, 2017 is going to be a very important day for the Cubs because it's finally the day that you close the book on the championship. The banner or whatever they're doing is raised. They get the rings. They're officially the world champions, get to celebrate. They're the defending champions. I think that's great for this team. It's great for the fans. Because the celebration is going to go all year. And I'm going to do this because I think the Cubs fans deserve it. Anybody that ever argues the Cubs for the next 5 years, all I have to say is 2016. Because you know how many times people have said, oh, well, the Cubs haven't won since 1908. And the White Sox are still using that stupid excuse. Not 2005, yeah, you won your title. And I mean, my dad was talking to a White Sox fan that lives down the street. And he goes to her, oh, how about the Cubs won the World Series? Yep. My team did it in 2005. Okay, so that's all you're going to say. No congratulations, just your team did it in 2005. That is a person that doesn't know sports and is a idiot. If the White Sox ever get good again and win one, sure, I'll congratulate them. I'm not like that. I'm not stuck up. If it happens, it happens. But it's very rare that you get the Crosstown Classic, and it won't be for a couple more years, where both teams are great. The Sox, it'll take a couple of years, but it always seems like the Sox still be able to beat the Cubs. Maybe this will be the year the Cubs take that cup, the Crosstown Cup. The Cubs have a lot of hardware over the last couple of years. But we got some preview to do, folks. Blackhawks, Rangers tonight at the Garden. Bulls, Wolves tonight as Tom Thibodeau returns to the United Center. Plus, I'll be a movie critic, because apparently every Wednesday is my movie day, or Tuesday, and I will give you my insight on the movie Arrived. But first, the Windy City Sports Minute! This is your Windy City Sports Minute for Tuesday, December the 13th. No Chicago sports were in action as of Monday night. Both teams will be back on the floor and the rink tonight as the Bulls will welcome in Tom Thibodeau and the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight at the United Center. Blackhawks will be on the road. They'll be on to face the New York Rangers. That'll be a 6 p.m. start on Comcast Sportsnet and NBCSN. The Bulls will be a 7 o'clock tip on ESPN and I believe WGN as well. Matt Stafford's injury, not serious. He'll be wearing a glove for the Detroit Lions. Also, Kenley Jansen signs a 5-year deal with this team, the Los Angeles Dodgers. And of course, Ryan Tannehill, only a knee sprain, not an ACL tear. Little hope for the Dolphins. That is your Windy City Sports Minute. Now back to Windy City Sports Talk. Okay, folks, we're back here on Windy City Sports Talk on this Tuesday. Going to get you set up. Both Chicago teams in action tonight. Bulls are home to face the Wolves. Blackhawks try to get revenge at the Garden against the team that beat them over the week on Friday. And the red-hot New York Rangers, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Today went to the movies again. The third week in a row. Went to go see the movie Arrived. Now, I argued about it because I went in because I thought when I was explaining the movie, I thought they were in space. I thought that was the key point of this. I'm like, I saw that movie with Sandra Bullock when she was in space, and I'm like, I don't know if I could do this again. But it ended up being a clever movie. I'm not even sure. Jeremy Baden, something like that, was in it. But it was a movie where it's kind of the mother. It's hard to explain because it's one of the movies where the end is at the beginning of the movie, and it just kind of comes full circle at the end. But it's like an alien invasion. And they're trying to interact through signs. It's like they're like octopuses with they were spitting out ink, and it was like giving signs, and they were trying to figure out what the signs meant. So they were kind of communicating with them. So it was interesting in how it all played out. I didn't think I would like it. It's probably the most sophisticated movie I've ever seen because I usually like the dumber. No, I shouldn't say dumber movies, but movies where you don't have to think all that much. Like last week, I went to see Bad Santa. So it's all intriguing nonetheless. So I recommend that one. Next week, I'm going to see that one with Will Smith where his mother or his daughter dies. And then in January, why I've become a movie watcher, I don't know. But in January, there's a movie coming out called Patriots Day with Mark Wahlberg, and it's kind of an analysis of what happened with the terror attacks at the Boston Marathon. And of course, Mark Wahlberg being from Boston, there's some other good actors in that as well. But that's definitely one I want to watch also. So that'll be coming out in January. So just sit back, relax, and I'll be a movie critic for you. But I recommend. And I thought I would hate it. I thought it would be like, oh, when's this movie going to end? But I'm like that at every movie. I can only sit for so long without being able to interact. I hear my phone buzzing, and I got to check stuff and all that stuff. So it was a pain at times, but nonetheless, I enjoyed it. And it was a good movie. So Arrived, I give it a go. Okay, so let's see. We got, 11 minutes left on the show. We got some more previewing to do. There's really no sports news. Trying to figure stuff out to talk about, and I really haven't had anything. Let's see if there's any baseball news. No. The Angels got Martin Maldonado from the Brewers. I'm not sure when that happened. The Dodgers also, with re-signing Kenley Jansen, re-signed Justin Turner, the third baseman. That's interesting. And, okay, so of course, I always enjoy this because it's always funny to see the pitchers, but usually MLB in December, or not December, September, always do rookie hazing where they have players dress up as the veterans usually have them dress up as, like, cheerleaders or Batwoman. But according to Major League Baseball, the new hazing rules ban dressing as a woman to offend women. So now you can't do that anymore. You can't dress as a cheerleader. You can't dress as... It's an anti-hazing, anti-bullying policy. So, I don't know. I just don't really... I mean, you see society, and I had a bus ride today where I had to listen to the bus driver talk about Donald Trump and his complaining about Donald Trump for a half hour to an hour. Ryan can't do that. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and argue politics, and then you get this kind of stuff where I just think it's, and you can't dress up, because apparently they did Hooters girls before. Lighten up, people. I mean, why does life have to be so serious about everything? It's rookie hazing. Now, if I was ever a rookie in baseball, probably would not like that so much. So, yeah. Dumb. Andrew McCutchen, not too happy about all the talks about, during the winter meetings, there was talks about him leaving the Pirates, and now all of a sudden, since they couldn't reach a deal or get anything done, he's not there. So, that, he's, or no, not that he's not there, he is going to be there, which could make it awkward, because, okay, like your team, like say you had to work for your I think I brought this up before, but say you had to work for your boss and he's trying to get rid of you, and then all of a sudden he's like, no, you can stay. I mean, you'd be offended as an employee, and I'm sure that's the same place that he's coming from, is to be like, yo, just hold it. So, I mean, besides that, I'm kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel for stories here. The games are announced today of the London games. The Jaguars will be there. I know the Jaguars will be there. And then the Dolphins and Saints will play a game there. That'll be in the United Kingdom. So I'm not sure. I'm trying to find the article. I'm not finding it. But interesting enough, them games got announced for this year. I think the Jaguars have a thing where they, I think they got to play a home game there every season till 2020, because they don't get people in Jacksonville anyway. So anyway, that's that. I'm getting kind of rambling on here. Let's start off talking about what we got tonight. And let's talk about the Blackhawks. Tonight, at the world's most famous arena against the New York Rangers. Tonight, 6 p.m. You can watch it on Comcast Sportsnet or NBCSN. Should be a humdinger, as they say. I think the Blackhawks have some revenge on their mind. The mainly reason, because if you watch the game Friday, it was a nice shutout game. They go into overtime. Antti Raanta, the goalie for the New York Rangers, has been absolutely phenomenal. And they're on a hot streak. And they're able to get a goal in overtime and get a win over the Hawks. And that was at the United Center. So now it's time for the Blackhawks to come in, do that to the New York Rangers. I always thought this would be a fun Stanley Cup final matchup, and hopefully maybe we get an opportunity to do that. Marian Hossa's been hot as of late. He's starting to get good. I think that's a big key for this team. And then if you can get, obviously Jonathan Toews, Corey Crawford not back. I think them two are going to be a big piece to this team's puzzle eventually whenever they're able to fully come back. But Patrick Kane has been on the ice a lot more lately. I think he obviously is going to be a big key. So obviously this Blackhawks team, one of the best in the NHL, but the Rangers right now are also one of the best teams in the NHL, playing extremely well. And I think they have less than 10 wins, so they're playing good. So I think they're going to be a team that's going to be very tough to beat. I mean, they're in the Eastern Conference. Like I said, the only time these two teams would meet up in the playoffs is if they met in the Stanley Cup final, which I think, what a market that would be. I mean, having the two biggest cities next to Los Angeles, but having the two of the biggest cities be able to have the Stanley Cup, I think it would be awesome to see that. And the Rangers have gotten so close. A couple of years ago, they faced the Kings in the Stanley Cup final, but lost. But again, you got but you also got a Ranger team that's hurt also. So they're not playing their best hockey right now. And I think this is a team that has the team of the Rangers. I mean, even though they're still hurt, they're still playing exceptionally well. But like we said, and also their star, there's their goalie, Henrik Lundqvist. And I thought he was playing, so that was bad on me. It tells you how much I know hockey. He has not been playing. It's been Antti Raanta. He's had a couple of great shutouts, and now he has an opportunity to do it again against the Blackhawks. But you got to think the Blackhawks are going to come out here, play very, very tough, and it's going to be very, very hard for them to try to. I think the Blackhawks are going to put extra pressure on the Rangers' defense and try to get to that goal. I mean, all it takes possibly is that extra pass, and that's going to be. that nice pass and that quick one-timer, and the Hawks can get right in. Of course, they started a 3-game road trip. That is the one positive thing, though. Corey Crawford and Jonathan Toews are with the team on the road in this 3-game road trip, which is tonight, a Thursday night in Brooklyn, I think Saturday night in St. Louis. So they have a lot of time. I think this team, it should be a fun road trip. I think, obviously, Brooklyn being the New York Islanders who now play at the Barclays Center. So Hawks need to come out. I think they need to score first. If they don't score first tonight, I think they're going to be in trouble. But again, it's national television, and why not? 2 biggest cities, 2 big markets. Go for it. And then you got the Bulls. They've started off very well as of late. And I was listening to, when I was on the bus this morning, listening to Mulling and Haley, and they were complaining about the Bulls. You know what? Take what you can get, guys, because you're not sure. I mean, you'd love to, in these last couple of games the Bulls have played, you would have loved to just trap this and be able to embrace it. But you haven't been able to. And just bottle it up and say, let's have this all year long. Because that hasn't been the case. They haven't been playing that well at times. And then other times you get Dwayne Wade, and the other times you get Jimmy Butler, and you get this team bearing down together and being extremely, extremely good. Look how they were able to play against the San Antonio Spurs. Look how they played a couple of weeks ago against the Cleveland Cavaliers. This team was playing very, very good basketball, but they're beating good playoff teams. Then they let their guard down. Tonight, they welcomed the former head coach Tom Thibodeau to the United Center. That's going to be fun. He deserves it. They do announce the head coach. I think it's a game. I think he deserves a standing ovation. I mean, I know he's a coach. Only really diehard fans are going to know who Tom Thibodeau is, but I still think you got to take it. You got to be happy. You got to be excited to see him back. And the Minnesota Timberwolves, I thought were going to be a team that were going to be right up there. They have had so many good draft picks over the years for being so dreadful, and now having an opportunity to be able to win. And then this year, it hasn't been this year, has not been the year for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So now, do they get an opportunity to try to put that all aside and maybe have one more struggling year like they're having? I believe they're about 10 to 12 games under 500. Be able to do that and then try to keep doing it. But I think Tibbs has been a great head coach. Like I said in the offseason, I thought the Bulls were going backwards and the Wolves were going forward. I was always like, I'm going to jump ship. I'm going to be a Wolves fan, but I'm obviously still a Bulls fan. But it's a team. They got Zach LaVine. They got so many talented young guys. This will be a fun game tonight also. Both these games are going to be fun. And I got to watch SmackDown. So I'm going to watch most of the Hawks-Rangers game that starts at 6. And I'll kind of got to fill in with the part of the Bulls. So that'll kind of be my night. But the Bulls tonight, that'll be a 7 o'clock start. I want to say that game is going to be on WGN. But it's also on ESPN, because I think that's a great game for ESPN to cover. I think Tom Thibodeau worked for ESPN last year for a little bit. So that is tonight's lineup. Again, the Blackhawks-Rangers. I say if the Blackhawks score first, they're going to win. 6 o'clock, Comcast Sports at NBCSN. And then for the Bulls, they're going to be home to face the Minnesota Timberwolves, 7 p.m. That's a WGN locally, ESPN nationally. So that should be a humdinger. Friday, I'm going to announce. It won't be live, but Friday show I'll announce what's up with the future of the Windy City Sports Talk, what we're going to do after Christmas, and see where it goes from there. And if that doesn't work, then I don't know. So, because, I enjoy doing this every day, but sometimes it's a pain in the ass. So speaking of tomorrow, should be live. There's no games tomorrow night for either team. So we might be preempted the final. We will be preempted on Friday. Maybe we'll be on Thursday also. So, but again, we're going to recap Blackhawks Rangers, recap Bulls Wolves. Hopefully, we have a couple wins in Chicago over the next day, and then we can talk about that tomorrow. Hopefully, there's some more news that I can talk about. Hopefully, we'll see. You never know. And then we'll do all that tomorrow, because of course, I'm here to quench your thirst when it comes to sports. But everyone, I will be back tomorrow at 3. I'm Ryan Young saying have a great day, Chicago.